We are one step closer to my man cave studio being built. The wiring got done today and insulation has started. But welcome back to another episode of the Myles High Club podcast. I am your host, Myles. Again, studio isn't quite complete yet, so today, recording from the comfort of my living room. Now, I'll get the disclaimer out of the way. You might hear a pitter-patter. That's because it's going to be my dog walking around on hard laminate, or she might just get bored and jump on me, so we'll see where it goes. But hello, everyone. As I said, I hope everyone's doing well. Let me start there. I hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, blessings to everybody. Good health, good wealth, and all that. My shed is, I would say, we're like 30 to 40% complete now. So it all got thrown up last week. I thought things were going to move a lot quicker than what they have done, but I underestimated how easy it was going to be to wire, and let's not get into all of that, because every time people that have been doing my house have been trying to explain to me, it goes in one ear and out the other ear, because I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's why I've got you doing the job. But, I appreciate it. So all the basic wiring has been done today. The insulation got started today. So fingers crossed tomorrow, you should be getting a delivery for more insulation and more plasterboard. And then that should all hopefully be, the electrics be done, the insulation should get, insulation for the walls and the ceiling. Actually, no, we've got it for the floor. Hopefully it's all insulated, but again, it should hopefully be done tomorrow, the day after. Then this weekend, take Mila to my mum's, paint and decorate the inside, and then I can start furnishing. So again, I'm going to put a timetable at 2-3 weeks before it's all fully complete and furnished, and I can actually start using it for everything. But yeah, that's how my week has gone so far. I'm not going to talk about price of how much these things are costing me, to insulation, plyboard. Just brought new lights. We brought new lights today for the studio, so it's actually got some cool spotlights in there. I'm still shopping for a sofa. It's one of them things where I had in my head, I had one way which I was going to set up the room. And then I went in there the other day and I was like, oh, what about if I set it up like this? So now I'm just like, now I don't know what I'm doing, because it's all up in the air. So yeah, it just needs to be done and then we can do it. But yeah, I hope you are all well. Last week was 420. Unfortunately, it's only a day's holiday. I feel like it should go for the whole month. But these are the things that we miss out on. But pre-production, so before we even headed to Joe's beautiful garden, thank you again, Joe, for letting us film there. But before we shot in the garden, we were out doing pre-production. And Beth, who was off camera in the last podcast, started talking. I don't know what brought these topics up. This is the thing about hanging with friends, just having conversations. You talk about the most random stuff. Somehow, I can't remember how we got onto this conversation. We got onto a conversation about nursery rhymes. Oh no, yes I do. Here we go. We were talking about PC culture and what it's safe to say and what it's not safe to say. I don't know why that came up, but we were having that conversation. And then we somehow stumbled onto talking about PC culture in nursery rhymes, Bar Black Sheep for one of them, to which Beth said to me, oh, well, do you know the origin of some of these nursery rhymes, like Ringa Ringa Roses? I was like, I have no idea. It's like, it's to do with Nazis. I was like, hold on a second. The Ringa Ringa Roses, Pocket Full of Posies, the thing that people encourage children to sing is about Nazis. So I deliberately put off doing any research just so I can learn it fresh for you guys. Googled nursery rhyme origins, and again, they make these titles good to buy you into it, and I brought into it. It's called The Dark Origins of 11 Classic Nursery Rhymes. I might sing the nursery rhymes. It depends if I know the nursery rhyme and if I can remember how that nursery rhyme goes. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to read out the nursery rhyme and then you guys will, Google it. Or you guys might know these nursery rhymes in themselves as well. So I didn't want to start with a dark topic. So I say I don't want to start with a dark topic. I don't think this is going to be dark. Who knows? But here we go. Number 1, Bar Black Sheep. So apparently, Bar Black Sheep is about the great custom attacks on wool that was introduced in 1275. But apparently, its use of the colour black and the word master led some to wonder whether there was a racial message at its centre. So, Bar Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir. 3 bags full. 1 for the master, 1 for the dame, one for the little boy who lives down the lane. Again, its origins in that I don't see it as racial, only because there are things called black sheeps. People do take wool from sheeps, and I can imagine in 1275, if you were a farmer and you were cutting up sheep, you would give one to the master first, and then you give one to the dame who comes up after, and if you had some spare, you'd give one to the little boy who lives down the dame. There you go. But its political correctness was called into question yet again in the latter part of the 20th century, with some schools banning it from being repeated in classrooms, and others simply switching out the word black for something deemed less offensive. In 2011, some news website reported that the proliferation of Barbar rainbow sheep as an alternative. So now, I'm not being funny. This is a genuine, I'm not being funny, genuine question. If people found whoever thought Barbar black sheep was offensive or anything like that, everyone knows there is a community that's associated with rainbows. Right, this one I still need to, I should have more guests on. Are rainbows only associated with gay people, or is it the whole LGBTQ plus? I forgot letters, but is it part of the whole wider community? Who knows? Will they find it offensive? Once again, who knows? But that wasn't really a dark origin. You didn't even say it was an origin. You just said it led some people to wonder whether there was a racial message at its center. Again, I don't speak on behalf of all black people, so unless someone out there can school me, I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. Number 2, Goosey Goosey Gander. I have no idea what this nursery rhyme is. It's hard to imagine that any nursery rhyme with the phrase goosey goosey and it's in its title could be described as anything but feel good, but it's actually the tale of religious persecution during the days when Catholic priests would hide themselves in order to say their Latin-based prayers, which was a major no-no at the time. In the original version, the narrator comes up... Oh, wow. In the original version, the narrator comes up on an old man, and then in quote marks it's got, who wouldn't say his prayers, so I took him by his left leg and threw him down the stairs. If anyone is shocked at anything to do with religion and violence in 2021, I don't know what to say to you. See how I said religion? I didn't say a specific religion. I'm just saying, if you hear religion and violence in the same sentence and you're like, oh, shock, that's on you. But again, that is dark. Who writ this then? So what they're saying is Catholic priests, or any Catholic priest that was either not saying the Catholic prayer or was saying a Latin-based prayer, he would take them by the leg and throw them down the step. Well, that is a bit much, but like I said, I'm not surprised. Jack and Jill, it gives you these nursery rhymes go way back. So, for example, Barbar Black Sheep was apparently created in 1731. This Goosey Goosey Gander was created in 1784. The next one, Jack and Jill. Everyone knows Jack and Jill. Not the shitty Adam Sandler movie, but the nursery rhyme. That's 1765. It seems like the 1700s that was the it time for people to be coming down there and coming out with nursery rhymes. I also wonder, if people came up with nursery rhymes now, how would they monetize it and get that residual income? Because it's a nursery rhyme. It's not like they're playing. Well, then again, you could play it off something, but... So, Jack and Jill, the origins aren't as clean-cut as you probably imagined. One of the most common theories surrounding the story's origin is that it's about France. It's about France's Louis the... Hold on. There's an X, that's 10. V's 5. One after the V6. Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette, who were both found guilty of treason and subsequently beheaded. That sounds like another topic for another day. The only problem is that these events occurred nearly 30 years after Jack and Jill was first written. The more likely possibility is that it's an account of King Charles I's attempt to reform the tax on liquid measures. When Parliament rejected his suggestion, he instead made sure that the volume was reduced on 1/2 and 1/4 pints, known as Jack and Jill's. Who wrote this article and thinks that these things are dark? Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch the pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown. And what is it? Jill came tumbling or did something after. I mean, There could be a lot more darker stories that I can think of at the top of my head about Jack and Jill if I just wanted to make something up. London Bridge is falling down, 1744. Again, the 1700s. It was just a time when they were just coming up with nursery rhymes. Oh, I got confused then, because the first line is in 2006, Fergie got saucy with some... No one cares about that. So, depending on whom you ask, London Bridge is falling down could be about the 1014 Viking attack, child sacrifice, or the normal deterioration of an old bridge. But the most popular theory seems to be the first one. So apparently the alleged destruction of the London Bridge at the hands of Olaf II of Norway sometime in the early 1000s. That sounds so crazy. The early 1000s. Yeah, the early 1000s. Just take that in. We're in 2021 right now. This is nearly 1,000 years ago. It's alleged, apparently, because some historians don't believe that the attack ever took place. But the song's popularity around the world is often cited as further proof that it was the Vikings who created it, believing that they brought the tune to the many places they travelled. The child sacrifice, that's an idea that has also been debated. There's no evidence to support it. But the theory goes, in order to keep London Bridge upright, its builders believe that it must be built on a foundation of human sacrifice, and that those same humans, mostly children, would help watch over the bridge and maintain its sturdiness. That's dark. Okay, whether it's a theory or whether it was true, that was a dark one. London Bridge is falling down. Did I say London Bridge is burning down? I don't know why I've always thought it's London Bridge is burning down, if it's London Bridge is falling down. But then again, my memory's not the best. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how did your garden grow with cockle shells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row? So Mary, Mary, quite contrary, again, 1744. So, contrary is one way to describe a murderous psychopath. Okay. For starting dark, this should be number one. This popular English nursery rhyme, which reads like a solicitation for gardening advice, is actually recounting the homicidal nature of Queen Mary I of England, aka Bloody Mary, a fierce believer in Catholicism. That does not sound like a real word. But the way I'm reading it is Catholicism. Catholics, basically. Her reign as queen from 1553 to 1558 was marked by the execution of hundreds of Protestants. Silver bells and cockle shells are torture devices, not garden accuments. Oh, shit. So Mary, Mary, quite murderous psychopath. How does your garden grow? Which I'm assuming... with cockle shells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row. So by garden, do they mean like where they buried the bodies? Cockle shells and silver bells are tortured icons, and pretty maids all in a row. I want to know what the pretty maids. Who's the pretty maid? That's what you've left out there. Are the pretty maids the people carrying out the execution? Are the pretty maids the people being executed? There's a lot of variables in that one. Number 6. Three Blind Mice, 1805. Three Blind Mice is supposedly yet another ode to Bloody Mary's reign, with the trio in question believed to be a group of Protestant bishops. It then names all the bishops who unsuccessfully conspired to overthrow the Queen and were burned at the stake. Jesus. Critics suggest that the blindness in the title refers to their religious belief. Okay, again, I haven't got the poem in front of me to think about how Three Blind Mice goes. But I'm in my house, so the internet speed will be nice and quick for me to search this. Three Blind Mice. I just want the lyrics, don't bring up all... Oh, it's brought up the Three Blind Mice from Shrek. Right, I've just typed in Three Blind Mice and it comes up in the weirdest... This isn't even English. This isn't Three Blind Mice either. I say that, I don't actually know how Three Blind Mice goes. In my head, it's Three Blind Mice... Again, I don't know. Do you guys still know your nursery rhymes? I know Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I hope that's not on here. Number 7, one I think we've all heard of, and probably heard of the origins. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So it says here, there's nothing particularly inflammatory about the lines eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe. But there is when you consider that the word tiger is a relatively new development in this counting rhyme as a replacement for the word nigger. Here it says N-word. Don't freak. It says N-word here, but there you go. Even with the lyrical switch out, any reference to the poem still has the ability to offend. Again, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a nigger by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. But apparently it's if he hollers, don't let him go. That was something that was apparently sang by people in the slave trade and people who would track down and hunt slaves and capture slaves to return them to wherever it is they came from. But apparently, in 2014, two passengers of Southwest Airlines two passengers sued Southwest Airlines for infliction of emotional distress because they played that nursery rhyme in humorous fashion during takeoff, and they said, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, please sit down. It's time to go." Right, back in doorbell's gone. Back in 2 seconds. That is someone coming to give us a quote about the patio. Right, I am back. Whew. Yeah, so that's someone else now coming to talk to us about our garden patio and the fencing. Oh man, I tell you, once you buy a house, if you think that's expensive, just wait a few years. Right, where was we? So we just covered eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So yeah, imagine. I want to hold on a minute. It doesn't say, because I was talking about someone suing someone. It just says in Twitter, sued for the intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Oh, it says at the bottom, the court sided with the airline, so they didn't win anything at all. And I mean, if they said catch a nigger by his toe or nigger sit down, then I understand. But please sit down, it's time to go. It's one of those ones. Right, number 8. Here we go around the mulberry bush. I have never heard of this nursery rhyme in my entire life. 1840. It's often sung as part of a children's game. According to a historian, a former governor of England's Wakefield prison, the song originated with that 420-year-old institution's female prisoners who were exercised around a mulberry tree, which is probably not the connotation your 6-year-old self had in mind. Here we go around the... Oh, okay. Oh, that's just not so dark, but weird. Rockabye Baby, 1765. Rockabye Baby in the treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. I don't know what comes after that. So one interpretation of this famous lullaby is about the son of King James II and his wife. It is widely believed that the boy was not their son at all, but a child who was brought into the birthing room and passed off as their own in order to ensure a Roman Catholic heir to the throne. Rockabye Baby in the treetops, when the wind blows, the cradle... Who knows? Doesn't make sense to me. Number 10. So this is the one that we were actually talking about that sent me on this list. Which, again, at first I was like, oh, maybe I can find out some really good origins of all these nursery rhymes. Doesn't seem that great so far. Number 10. Ring Around the Rosie. So considering that some of today's classic nursery rhymes are more than 2 centuries old, there are often several theories surrounding their origins. Scrap all of that. Hold on. So, though its lyrics and even its title have gone through some changes over the years, the most popular theory is that the sing-song refers to the 1665 Great Plague of London. The Rosie is the rash that covered up the afflicted, the smell from which they attempted to cover up with a pocket full of posies. The plague killed nearly 15% of the country's population, which makes the final verse, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Ring-a-ring-a roses, pocket full of posies. I always thought it was a tissue, we all fall down. So the roses is the rash that covered up the infected. And then the smell from that, you would then try and cover up with a pocket full of posies. I don't know what the hell a posy is. So here you go, but someone has labelled this as faith. The nursery rhyme probably has its origins in the religious ban on dancing among many Protestants in the 19th century in Britain as well as in North America. Adolescents found a way around the dancing ban with what was called the United States the play party. Play parties consisted of ring games which differed from the square dances only in their name and their lack of musical accompaniment. That was hugely popular between younger children got in the act too. So trying to say people banned dancing, so Ring a Roses was a party get. None of these are dark at all. I'm pissed. I feel like Googling some dark stories now, just so we can actually get the whole dark thing up. And the last one, Old Mother Hubbard, 1805. Too many Old Mother Hubbard is not at all, nor a... Oh, so Old Mother Hubbard is not a mother at all, nor a woman. The poem is speculated to have been written as a mockery of Cardinal Thomas Wolsey, whose refusal to grant an amulet to King Henry VIII so that he could marry Anne Boleyn led to his political downfall. Again, I have no idea how old Mother Hubbard goes. What I will tell you though, internet, is that was a crock of shit. Not one of them was dark. Not one of them was dark in the slightest. Eeny, meeny, miny, slightly. I know, catching slaves and shit, but that wasn't. I feel robbed now. I feel like, one, I probably should have read all these nursery rhymes to get a good example of what it was, but I want you guys to get the same reaction. I want you guys to see a genuine reaction along with me as well. But they were not dark. Dark, if you remember, to however many episodes ago it was now when I did the Disney World Order episode, when I was talking about the origins of like some of the Disney princess stories. They were dark. These were not dark. Not in the slightest were any of these dark. If we move on to something that actually is dark, and it's one of those things where got to talk about it. Everyone's talking about it. We've got to talk about it. So I thought I'd go on a new spin. So last week when we recorded on 420, we actually recorded it like 4-5 hours before the verdict came through on the George Floyd case. I don't want to say the murderer's name. Him, Mr. Chauvin, not even Mr. That prick. The verdict for that came out, I think it was literally like 4 or 5 hours after we finished recording, which is why I didn't talk about it at all last week. But yeah, he was found guilty on all 3 counts. You'll probably see 10 years in jail, if that, but you know what? Whatever. It's same for the woman that she didn't break into, she was going home. Remember last year she was going home and she walked into the wrong house and there was a guy in there and she shot him and killed him. She only got sentenced to negligible. You know when you're being I can't say the word. Negligent. How do you say it? Neglect. Neglectful. We'll just call it, no, it wasn't neglect. It was one of these long words. It was neglectful or something like that. Neglectful homicide, which basically means you killed someone, but apparently that only sees 3 to 4 years in jail as well. This is the headline when I was doing the research to get some of these things that really stood out. 6 police killings occurred in the 24 hours after the verdict in the Chauvin trial. So literally, a policeman is on trial for putting his knees on an innocent man's neck for 8 minutes and 43 seconds until he couldn't breathe, resulting in his death. While he's on trial for killing someone, 6 police killings then occurred 24 hours after that verdict. So I'm not going to go through all of them. The 2 biggest ones is the Makia Bryant, the 16-year-old black girl who was killed by Officer Nicholas Reardon in Columbus, Ohio, just before the verdict was read. So the local police released body cam footage. I don't know if you've seen this one. This is the story where Makia, sorry again, rest in peace. She was apparently about to get jumped or about to get attacked by 2 girls or a group of girls. So she called the police to come and help. When the police arrived, you can see that it looks like the 2 girls are attacking her and she's trying to defend herself. Policeman jumps out the car. You can hear people screaming about a knife. He jumps out the car, shoots her 4 or 5 times in the chest, killing her. Now, I did see some people out there saying that this was a justified kill. It was a legal kill. She had a knife on her. 1, if you look at that body cam footage, there's no way he can see that she has a knife. 2, he jumps out and immediately starts busting. Like door open, hop out, bang, 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 bang. He wasn't in fear for his life. She wasn't going at him. She was being jumped or attacked by multiple people. Not saying that's any reason for the knife. I don't know who brought the knife to the party. She just apparently had the knife at the time. And 3, what happened to tasers? Why don't American police like using tasers on black people? Someone please tell me this. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people that says more white people need to die. Chris Rock said it in a comedy special. I thought it was hilarious. Someone recently came out, one of these American TV hosts, and he said America won't pay attention until this starts happening to white children, which I completely agree with. When it's a black person, they will come up with anything. Like the George Floyd case, they tried to say, 1, he had heart problems, And 2, because his face was near the exhaust of the police car, that had an effect with your health. No, listen, even if he did have health problems, the fact that you had your knee on his neck while he's breathing in all of these poisonous fumes just makes it sound even worse. They shouldn't have used that. But again, they should have, because that's what fucking helped them lose that case. To protest and all that have been kicking off on Ma'Khia Bryant, 16-year-old girl. The policeman could have jumped out the car, seen them fighting. He could have jumped out and hit them with a taser. He could have let shots off in the air. Well, again, it's police. They're not going to shoot in the air, but taser, shoot her in the leg, shoot her in the arm, shoot her once. You thought about that, maybe? It's a fucking 16-year-old girl. She's not even attacking the policeman. So he's not in fear for his life in the slightest. He was on the scene for 3 seconds. This also goes into something, she's 16 years old. Apparently, this fight that was happening in the street was happening in front of friends, family, adults, kids. So at some point, you have to stop and ask yourself, why was none of the adults getting involved? Like, why weren't your parents stopping this? Listen, if it's a one-on-one fight, you want to let a one-on-one fight happen. I'm never going to stop a one-on-one fight unless someone's knocked out and they're getting stamped on or anything like that. But one-on-one, let it fly. As soon as someone tries to get a weapon involved, as soon as the numbers start to get a bit uneven, step in. Someone should step in, pull them apart, everyone get in the middle. Like, it shouldn't have got this far. But the fact that if there's an issue between black people and one black person calls the police and it ends up with that, not only did it end up with a black person being killed, the person that called the police was the person that was killed. I don't know where else to what else to say about this. And then another one that happened, I think it was shortly after, is Andrew Brown Jr. So rest in peace to Andrew Brown Jr. He was a 42-year-old black man. He was killed as sheriff deputies tried to serve an arrest warrant in Elizabeth City in North Carolina. They haven't released the footage to the public yet. I was listening to The Breakfast Club this morning, in fact, actually, and they were talking about it. The police have released a 20-second body cam footage to the family. 1, it's only 20 seconds. Why is it only 20 seconds? 2, in the video, allegedly, you can see there's like another 6 to 8 officers all around. So why is it only 1 body cam that's been set to them? And the police also said that they needed to edit people's faces, or they needed to edit something in the footage before they can send it out. That's why there was such a delay sending it out to the family. You shouldn't edit anything. Send out. The whole point of body cam footage is to capture everything that happens, or everything that the police officer sees. So you shouldn't be editing everything. When it happens, body cam footage, take the SD card out, plug it into a laptop, put it on WeTransfer, send it to everyone that it needs to be sent to. Someone needs to hack these police so they can send out these files, because it's... So he was... few details on the shooting have been released. A witness said the deputies shot Brown as he attempted to drive away. 7 deputies have been placed on leave, and I bet you it's paid leave. Protesters and lawyers have demanded for the body cam footage. That's already been released to the family. Literally it was the day after. So the day after they got that verdict, this happened to Andrew Brown. I don't know what's a bigger problem in America, guns or the police. I know police with guns would be the common answer, but if it's not Americans killing Americans with guns, it's the police killing black Americans with guns. Again, we've already had the conversation about guns. As much as I'd say you should ban guns, you can't ban guns for America. One, it's too ingrained in their culture and their society in terms of home protection. Again, we don't have guns over here, so I'm very biased, and I've only got a one-sided opinion. I need to speak to someone that's lived in America and lived somewhere else where guns weren't legal. Just see what is their impact. Like, imagine if, again, I've spoken about it before. I haven't had that many interactions with police. I think I've had 2 or 3. I'm one of the lucky ones. I've had 2 or 3 interactions with police. I dread to think how those interactions would have gone if police had guns. Because in America, they just seem to pull you over and pull the gun out while you're in the car. And now you're fucked because you don't know where to leave your hands on the steering wheel. You go to get out the car, they could just scream you're reaching for something and light the car up. It's not something that I care to even be a part. I want to go to America. I want to go to America so bad. But I'd be scared. I'd be scared of everything. I'd be scared of the people, scared of the police. America, I know you like to think you're the greatest country, but I don't even think you might not even be in the top half of great countries. Like, your history is shit. Your current time is shit. Your future doesn't look that much better. It just looks like a beautiful, shitty place. Like a shitty place with some beautiful aspects to it. But yeah, that's that. Let's talk about something a bit more cheery. Next week, I'm going to talk about Mortal Kombat. So if you haven't watched Mortal Kombat yet, watch Mortal Kombat or DM me on Instagram, and I might have a link for you so you can actually watch it. But I haven't watched it yet. I want to make sure that I'm not watching it while I'm working or watching it while I'm distracted looking after Mila or anything. I need it time to myself, put it on, and enjoy the movie. Well, we are going to talk about those, because I didn't talk about it last week. What's on the box? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or as it ended on Friday with the finale, Captainamerica and the Winter Soldier. Now, where do I even start? So episode 5, it saw the start of episode 5, the fight scene between Bucky and Sam versus the fake captain. Is it John Walker? Yeah, Walker. So the fake Captain America. That fight scene was intense. I thought Walker was going to take them out completely, because it's like roid rage. He's just been dosed up. You know, like in Twilight, how the newest vampires that get turned are the strongest. That's what I thought was going to happen with his super serum. Kind of was, because it took 2 of them to take out him. Some of the fight scenes, though, highlight from the fight scene is Bucky picking up John, swinging him around, only for Sam to fly into him with the shield and just use him as a baseball bat into the... Oh, it was good. Then them 2 working together to break his arm. That was so good as well. And I was wrong. I am happy to admit I was wrong. He went back to America. He was on trial and he was stripped. I thought he was going to get away with it somehow, but no, they were like, the way you acted, we know you've done a lot from us, which is why you're not getting... He wasn't getting a dishonorable discharge. He got an unhonorable? He got something. He got a something discharge. He didn't get court-martialed, didn't face any jail time. Like, he was allowed just to walk out of the courts. Would it have gone differently if they knew that he had secretly took the super serum? Who knows? But then he bumps into Val at the end, who we see more of in the next episode. But he bumps into Val, and Val's on about this new initiative with... He didn't actually mention... She just said that she's got plans for him, which come alive in this one. Sam goes to see Isaiah, the original Black Captain America, and the conversation they have, man, it's heartbreaking, talking about America will never accept or will never have a Black Captain America. And I mean, he's not wrong. As much as Marvel are doing it, and I know what you can say about Obama being president, he's not wrong. Just look at the current climate of America. I literally just spoke about, 3 black people that have been killed this year alone by police. George Floyd was last year, but there was another 2. Well, there's another 2 this year. There's 3, yeah? There's the 2 that I've just mentioned. I mentioned it a few weeks ago with the black guy in the car who got shot when the police officer thought she was drawing for her taser. They think we're stupid. They must think we're stupid. But again, we ain't gonna get into that. We know what they think of us. It should be enough. Oh, hold on a minute. I was trying to get something up. But yeah, so episode 5 was a great pre-finale, but then episode 6 came, and where did we start? It felt like action from the first, it was 50 minutes to an hour. I think like the first 30, 40 minutes was just action. It was just non-stop hardcore action. We had Sam and Bucky get into the GRC building. Carly was on the outside. It was all a plan to keep them distracted, it seems like. You had Batroc versus Sam. Sam just throws his shield through the window, and then he just bursts in through the window of the GRC building in his new suit. Suit looks dope. It looks just like it does in the comics. It's amazing. He's got like this half thing here, which I think is meant to like represent like a falcon, but he should just have just a bit of vibranium just to protect your head, Sam. That's all you want. But no, his fight with Batroc it's a great fight. The way he uses the shield and uses his jetpack to boost into the shield. And then when he knocks him down, he doesn't want to kill him because he knows he's got bigger... Well, Sam wouldn't kill anyone anyway, but he knows he's got bigger things to do, and he knows that Batroc is just a distraction. So through the shield, through the window, then jumped out. That was such a good scene. While all this is going on, Bucky and Carly are on the phone talking to each other about fighting for what you believe in and fighting for something that's bigger than you. Again, Bucky, she's talking to the wrong person when it comes to talking about fighting for something that's bigger than you, because Bucky's on about how he did it and failed twice. Oh man, you gotta You've got to love and feel sorry for Bucky. But then, yeah, action pauses for a little bit because then all the hostages are being evacuated. They get in, so 2 groups get into a van and go one way. 1 group gets into the helicopter. The helicopter scene, I thought was great. They could have done a bit more to make it more tense, but helicopter goes off. Sam's trying to rescue people. The pilot's shooting out the window at them. He's trying to get in with the blades. Sam sends Red Wing up. Red Wing looks in, realizes that one of them knows how to fly a plane or a helicopter. Hacks into her. Of course they do. It's one of those things, but you know, little things. Hacks her phone, sends her a message, get ready to... And again, the countdown, because he says, we're going to do a countdown from 5. You see when they get to 2, that's the longest second it takes to get to 1. But again, it works. Sam literally throws his shield, breaks the... he shoots it, breaks the glass, zooms through and takes out the driver. She runs forward, grabs there's the plane, helicopter saved. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Bucky's finally tracked down Carly. Bucky's fighting all the super soldiers. John Walker turns up in his own homemade black Captain America suit. No, it's not. It's his homemade suit with his homemade shitty shield that he throws at Carly. She just kicks it and smiles, and it's just bent up and twisted on the floor. It's then the Flagsmashers versus Bucky versus Johnny. It appears, but then John seems to be on the good side. Bucky gets thrown or falls down into what looks like a building site. So now you've got 2 fights going on everywhere. It looks peak for them, like they're going to lose. Bucky's handling himself down there. Carly gives up, jumps in the car and just drives it off the building site because her plan changes so quick. At first she wants hostages, and the littlest thing happens and it goes from hostages to, boom, we're killing people. And when she talks about having to kill people at the start, her friends are like, is that really the best idea? Is that we really want to do that? But they do it. Well, they don't. She does it. And then, so from there, what happens after that? John Walker finally submits to his good side. So that's when there's like a little bit where you're watching it where the truck's falling and you're like, is he going to save the hostages or is he going to take out his vengeance for Lamar and go after the Flagsmashers? He does the right thing, leaves the Flagsmashers, they escape, goes after the van. Just as you think the van's going to fall, boom, it stops, camera pans out. Captain America, Sam, or Captain Falcon as someone calls him later on, he pushes the truck back up, rescues everyone. Happy story. It then moves on from there, because again, Carly runs off, so they've got to go and chase Carly down. We find out that, what's her name? This is how much this bit of the story actually got to me when I found out who the power broker. So the power broker turned out to be Sharon. Sharon Carter was the power broker. It was obvious and it wasn't. Like it was obvious when you're watching it. You see like all the power. It's like, yeah, you can sort of see how it was her, but she blipped. She snapped when the snapping happened or the blip happened. When Thanos clicked his fingers, she vanished for 5 years. So she was on the... So Civil War is when she went on the run. So between Civil War and Infinity War, there's what, 3-4 years, I think? Doesn't seem like a big time, but she vanishes. Even if she did become this big, massive crime lord, who is, again, anonymous, she vanishes for 5 years. Everything's changed. So even if she was the power broker back then, in 5 years' time, she shouldn't be the power broker now. Anyway, I digress. Turns out she's the power broker because Carly points it out to her when them two are having a little a heart-to-heart. Backdrop comes and finds out Sharon's the power broker. He tries to bribe her. She just shoots him and ends it like that. Sam hears this, tries to chase him down. I think, who shot Carly? I think Sharon already shot Carly at some point. And then just as Sam gets there, Carly then goes, no, Carly shot Sharon, that's what it was. And then you've got Sam and Carly going for it. Carly's telling him to fight back. Sam's refusing to fight back because he's the good guy. And then just when I feel like something was going to, Carly just picks up the gun, points it at Sam. You don't know what she's going to do. She probably would have killed him. As much as she can understand Sam, and she knows deep down that Sam was on the same side of her, he was just fighting the fight in a different way. There's a good chance that her delusional brain would have finished her off. So Sharon, bow, finishes off Carly. Carly dies. Sharon remains safe. The two people there that who knew she was the power broker are now dead. Skip to later on, she gets reinstated, she gets a pardon, she gets her old job back, she phones someone like, fuck super soldiers, we're going to have access to government secrets, weapons, all of this. Big question is, who is she calling? So we'll find out. Sam gives an emotional speech. It's not an emotional speech, but he gives the governors and the senator, he gives them a good talking to about the whole GRC programming. Because what happened is everyone snapped. And then during that 5 years, there was a lot more space in the world. So people were just moving around freely and relocating to different places. And then however many millions of people came back after 5 years. The GRCs now, I think their plan was to take people and take them back to where they originally all came from, which obviously is a bit fucked, especially if you've been used to it now for a few years. It's one of those things. Sam's trying to tell them there's a better way. You're not listening to the people. It only benefits you. Listen, go and watch the speech because it's such a good speech. When he's walking up to the cameras, people are like, are you still the Falcon? What do we call you now? Captain Falcon. Someone calls him Black Falcon still, which is a throwback from like episode 2 or something. And then probably the highlight of this episode is when he goes to Isaiah, tells him to come with him, takes him to the museum where he's built a statue and a monument in the name of Isaiah so that his story won't be forgotten. People can now go there and learn about the original black Captain America and all he did for his country. Oh, it's such a good ending. One bit of me really wanted Isaiah to like come back out into the public and be like, I was a Captain America, this is what your government did to me, blah, blah, blah. But no, the way they did it was fantastic. Only thing I was wondering is, WandaVision was like a setup for Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. This didn't seem to set anything up. I thought it was going to set up Shang-Chi, I don't know how you meant to pronounce it, Legends of the Ten Rings. I thought it was going to set up that only because literally days before the finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out, they drop a Shang-Chi trailer. And there's a fight scene which looks like the fight scenes happening in Madripoor, which again, we see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So maybe that's the little link, but it didn't look like they were setting up anything for any of the films coming out. So you got Black Widow coming, you got Shang-Chi coming, Doctor Strange, I think that's next year or the end of the year, I'm not too sure, but Doctor Strange, I'm sure that's still a bit away. But no, Falcon and the Winter Soldier has now finished, and now the question that everyone's asking and discussing is, we've had 2 MCU TV shows, we've had WandaVision, and we've now had Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Which was better? Like, which do you prefer? Don't get me wrong, the action in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was so good. But, hear me out, the intrigue that WandaVision built episode after episode takes it for me. Not by a lot, but slightly. Again, every time Falcon and the Winter Soldier finished, I was like, okay, it's finished. Can't wait for next week. Every time WandaVision finished, it was stressful. Like, there were memes about how stressed and how annoyed people would get every time those end credits popped up on WandaVision because you just wanted to keep watching. Every episode had you digging into conspiracy theories and who's this? When is this going to happen? Why is it black and white? Who's controlling this? Who's Agatha Hart? It was just so Agnes, not Agatha. Agatha is the witch. Agnes was her made-up name. It was just so good. And now, with those 2 under our belt, we've got a few weeks before Loki starts. Loki, I don't know why. It must be the trailers. It's the trailers and the fact that Loki is such a good character. But Loki is shaping up to be the best MCU TV show so far, including WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So yeah, fingers crossed when we will see that. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. If you're watching this, apparently 62% of the people that watch these videos aren't subscribed. All you got to do is click subscribe. It takes you 5 seconds and it's free. Yeah, every Thursday, 7 o'clock. If you're watching me on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, Google, Stitcher, Pod Addicts, basically anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can hear my voice. I've been Myles. This has been the Myles High Club Podcast. Until the next time, peace.